Hey, what's up, guys? So today I'm going to be doing a Bellator 198 breakdown, as well as a review of the recent card, UFC Atlantic City, and how we did. And we did pretty good on UFC Atlantic City. We actually went 9-2 on the card with our picks. Hit a few upset picks. We hit the pick with Aljamain Sterling, which a lot of people I know were a little bit weary about me picking Aljamain Sterling. I know that Aljamain he's had some, difficulties in the past. Definitely he doesn't have the best hands still. I still wouldn't say, even though he did show some better hands, I just thought that he was going to be the overall better athlete, and he was there. That was a pretty cool pick to get right. I was kind of happy to see Aljamain get back on track, too. I think that he's kind of interesting personality. We saw Edson Barbosa just get pounded out, man. That was a pretty amazing fight. I really enjoyed that fight. I really enjoyed the way that Kevin Lee was working his ground and pound. When he gets hold of you on the clinches, man, that guy is a gorilla. He really has some huge power. Really just was ragdolling Barbosa, taking him to the ground with that double leg, landing hard hammer fists, hard elbows. I mean, he was really mauling Barbosa really bad, but you could just tell whenever it was on the feet, I was nervous, man. I had, a pretty decent play on Kevin Lee, and even though he was dominating the fight, I would say it was 2 10-8s. Then Barbosa landed that spinning heel kick. You saw Kevin Lee do it, the chicken dance from hell, man. I was nervous, and every single time the fight was on the feet, round 4, I thought that he was winning. I thought that, Kevin was winning on the feet just like I thought. I thought he looked really great in southpaw. I thought he had a really beautiful jab. But it was just nerve-wracking, man. You could just see how dangerous Barbosa is, and all the respect in the world to that guy. That guy's tough as hell, tough as nails. Never gives up, man. Doesn't have an ounce of quit in him. He's fought everyone, man. You look back and think of all the guys that he's fought. He's fought Kevin Lee, Khabib, Gilbert Melendez, Anthony Pettis, Tony Ferguson, Paul Felder, Michael Johnson, Evan Dunham, Bobby Green, Donald Cerrone. I mean, he's Jamie Varner. I mean, he's fought the best of the best, man. Never taken a back step, never said no to a challenge, and he's taken a hellacious amount of punishment, though, his last 2 fights, and have to really wonder, how is he going to come back from that. But I would say the way that he came back from the Khabib fight, even though he was thoroughly dominated, once again he showed that extremely durable, has great heart, and he's dangerous all the way through, man. Really, really impressive performance and defeat by Barbosa, in my opinion, just as it was impressive for Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee just looked phenomenal, 25 years old, continuing to progress in this position, in this division, and he's just a beast, man. He's really the real deal, showing some huge power in his kicks as well. He had a few body kicks that Edson was really reacting to, made it seem like he had some massive power. And moving on down the card, in the co-main event, Frankie Edgar was able to win basically a stand-up battle against Cub Swanson. Cub did a good job of, being able to use good movement and defend the takedowns in this fight. And he was a little bit better in terms of, keeping the fight on its feet. Definitely didn't let Edgar take him down and ground and pound him, but he was just getting outboxed every single round. Edgar was landing his shots, moving away, using his footwork, pushing him against the fence. Just doing what Frankie Edgar does. He looked good, and after the fight, he called out the winner, Ortega versus Max Holloway. And leave down in the comments what you think is next for Frankie Edgar. You think he deserves that title shot next? Do you think he has to wait still? And for Cub Swanson, he just got a new contract. Not sure where this leaves him, though, because it really leaves him in a precarious spot. Seems like he's turned into a gatekeeper rather than a contender now. And Justin Willis had a pretty good win against Chase Sherman. The first round, it seemed like he should have got him out of there. Maybe it was just a little bit inexperienced in terms of Justin Willis. He just doesn't know how to finish yet. Kind of pounced on him on the ground, let him survive. And Chase Sherman did a good job, in that third round. I thought he won the round and showed some good durability, showed some improvements. But overall, I don't know if Chase Sherman is good enough to hang at this level in the UFC. And for Justin Willis, I would like to see him get a step up, man. I think that he's pretty athletic, pretty decent wrestler, pretty good at pacing himself, and maybe he could get the winner of like Tai Tuivasa, Andrei Arlovsky type fight. Maybe that's a little bit too early. Maybe you could get like the winner of, I don't know. Maybe you could just get like just a stiff test. I'm thinking of someone that could be a stiff test. Maybe like Alexei Oleinik, someone, Travis Brown, someone that's maybe right outside that top 15, top 20. And for David Branch against Thiago Santos, I was pretty surprised at this fight. Maybe not at the outcome. I wasn't shocked that David Branch won. David Branch is a very, very formidable guy. You know, he's won 14 out of his last 15 fights. Had a 13-fight win streak going to that Rockhold fight. But, you know, the way that he finished with that KO was just really impressive performance. David Branch really cemented himself back in that hunt at 185. And for Thiago Santos, that's a pretty damaging loss, man. You know, he's the type of guy that comes in, he has a lot of hype, had a lot of, you know, the stars were aligning for him. He'd won 4 in a row, all by knockout, get that name win against David Branch, and who knows, man, he could have been thrown right into a title eliminator. And, you know, he took that loss, and I think that's going to push him down pretty far. I don't think that's like a kind of loss where he's going to be able to build back up in a couple fights. I think he's going to have to go back down, win 3 or 4 more fights to get back up in the conversation for a title eliminator type fight. And up next, Aljamain Sterling against Brett Johns. Pretty interesting fight, you know, Aljamain Sterling, like, pretty much how I thought, man. I thought he was going to be a little bit more athletic, a little bit rangier, and use kicks, keep Brett Johns on the outside. Brett Johns, like you said, isn't the most athletic guy, doesn't have the best stand-up, and thought that he was going to try to test Aljamain in the wrestling. I really liked Aljamain in the wrestling department versus Brett Johns, and, you know, he was able to dominate there, and really good performance by Aljamain. I think Dominic Cruz might be a little bit above his pay grade coming off these back-to-back losses, but, you know, it's not a terrible fight, and, you know, definitely want to see Aljamain progress. He beat the hype train, the guy was 15-0. Definitely have to give him credit there. For Brett Johns, I think Brett Johns will be back, man. He's a good wrestler, good grinder, but don't know if he'll ever be good enough, quite athletic enough to be a top 5, top 10 guy. And Dan Hooker, Jim Miller, you know, just continually see the decline of Jim Miller, man. This time he was knocked out in the first round by a knee. And for Dan Hooker, that's 3 very impressive performances in a row. He's really learning how to use his range, using a lot of kicks, using a lot of movement. Very, 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 very good Muay Thai. Just, you know, those knees are awesome, man. He really, really, really accentuates his body type. He's just a beast. I think Dan Hooker's someone that you really have to look after now in the division, that he's had 3 straight finishes. He just looking really good, man. Looking the best he's ever looked. And I really don't mind seeing that fight with him versus Paul Fedor. I thought that was a pretty cool call-out. And, you know, wouldn't mind seeing it. I think Dan Hooker versus Paul Fedor is a great fight. And for the next fight, Ryan LaFleur against Alex Garcia. You know, basically what I thought, Ryan LaFleur was able to control the distance on the feet and then take him down, control on the ground. And he won a 30-27 decision. You know, Ryan, the decisionator, LaFleur. Not much to talk about here. Ryan LaFleur got the decision 30-27. And up next, Ricky Simón versus Merab Dvalishvili. And, okay, we get to the, you know, the one of the night, man. The one everyone's talking about, what everyone thought, you know, was Merab out, was he not out? And I'm going to tell you right now, it looks like he was out, man. You could see on the takedown, I was listening to Mark Goddard talk, and then I went back, looked at the replay, and I totally agree with him, man. When he has when he gets the first initial takedown with about 56 seconds left, looks like he spikes his head on the ground. He's completely limp there. You see Ricky Simón grab the neck, roll him over, and then he kind of comes back when he's in the choke. So I thought he was completely out there. And then at the end of the fight, you could see him, he was just moving, he was doing the bicycle the whole time. I mean, I think that's kind of what made everyone kind of not nervous, what's the word? Like, hesitant to say he's out there, like, okay, what's he doing here with those legs? But watch right when Ricky Simón stops choking him. You see him, the other leg stops. One leg, I don't know if it was the right or left leg. One leg stops, and another leg is just on the ground, just going up and down with his eyes closed, up and down, uncontrollably. And that guy's out right there. He's out cold. You could tell, pretty obvious in my opinion, good call. Think that Ricky Simón deserved that victory there. But Merab looked great, man. I was really surprised. Ricky Simón was my most confident pick of the night. I guess Merab really had the flu coming into his last fight, and I knew that, but didn't think that it was going to be quite an impact on his speed, man. He looked much, much faster. I think Ricky Simón was also worn down. You know, that's his 6th fight in a year. Definitely think he should take a break. I think he's a lot better than he showed in that fight. And both guys, you know, get to move forward. Maybe they'll do the rematch, maybe not. But hopefully Merab gets another fight in the UFC. He had a good performance, but I do think it was a just decision there. And up next, Siar Bahadurzadeh versus Luan Chagas. And just had a terrible read on this fight. I really thought Chagas was a better striker, was the better on the ground as well. And I think that he did prove that on the ground. He was better on the ground. He was able to take Chagas's back, or take Barderzada's back and control for basically the entire first round, maybe not the entire first round, for about 3 minutes of the first round. But you could just tell on the feet that Sierra Barderzada's power was just making Luan Chagas very uncomfortable, and the knockout was just disgusting, man. That shot to the body, uppercut, just ruthless. And you could tell that Sierra Barderzada has some really, really nasty power. And I think that he's a force, man. I really would like to see him fight a top 10 guy next. I think that his power really has to be something to behold, because Chagas was almost scared to engage after the very first, one of the very first exchanges. And, for that to happen, Sierra definitely has to have some bone-crushing power, and he really showed it there, man. That front kick to the body, uppercut, one of the nastiest KOs of the year. You really have to say that. And Sierra's coming off of 2 straight KOs, and, I think he has 3 straight wins now. Yep, he has 3 straight wins, and, like I said, maybe give him a top 15, top 10 guy, see how he does there. He's not the most technical guy, a little bit awkward, looks like he's maybe not that good, but who knows, man, keeps pulling it out. And for Corey Anderson and Patrick Cummings, once again, kind of like what I thought. Patrick Cummings was just not able to keep up with the striking on the feet of Corey Anderson, especially in round 1. He was hurt like he is in almost all his fights. Hit with a big uppercut, hit with a lot of big standing elbows. Anderson was just battering him on the feet. And then you saw that Anderson was the better wrestler as well after he wore down Patrick Cummings, able to take him down as well. Really broke Cummings, and dominant performance by Corey Anderson. Really cemented his name, really back in the hunt. I really think that he could be a name here at 205. I know a lot of people talk about his chin, man, but I don't know many people that could have survived that kick from over in St. Preux. And he's one of these guys that's a good athlete, good all-around fighter. And at 205, he could beat a lot of guys with that style. And I think we're going to see a lot more of overtime Corey Anderson. And for the first fight of the night and the last fight of the review was Tony Martin versus Keita Nakamura. And, Nakamura just didn't really look like he had it this fight. I thought that Tony Martin was going to be able to control the distance, control the striking, but did think there was going to be a bit hairy moments where Nakamura started to control. And I actually never saw any of that. Tony Martin looked good. He looked sharp on the feet. Really, really crisp, straight right hand. Really good controlling the distance. And once he was taken down, he was able to immediately attack with Kimura's attack with arm bars. And he was the one that was doing most of the attacking on the ground, which I was surprised about. Even though Tony Martin did look like he was susceptible to those takedowns, he wasn't defending them at all. I don't know if that had to do with him not having good takedown defense or just being, confident enough that he was going to get himself in a good position once the fight hit the ground. But overall, Tony Martin had a great performance. And 9-2, we won our parlay of the week, and we really got back on track. Not that we were off track, but nice to, go 9-2, hit the parlay of the week, and just have a good overall week. They hit the most confident pick as well. And going to try to do that again for you guys. I really think I have a pretty good read on a good amount of these fights here for Bellator 198. I had a good time doing tape study for this fight. It really was a, pretty interesting card. I'm only going to be doing the main card for you guys. I think those are the only fights that have, odds anyways. So I'm just going to be doing the main card. But the first fight is one you can't really talk much about. I mean, I guess you can, but not much about the actual fight here. We have Dylan Danis against Kyle Walker. And everyone knows, Dylan Danis, Conor McGregor's jiu-jitsu coach. He's had beefs with Nate Diaz, say that he'll fight Nate Diaz at his debut. Very brash guy, thinks he's going to be a champion very quickly. But he's fighting a guy that, he matched up well here. The guy that he's fighting is 2-3. Not like he's fighting Nate Diaz, like he said. He's fighting a very, very low-level can. And there's not really much to say here. Kyle Walker, from what I've seen, is a short, stocky striker. Likes to, throw nice leg kicks. He has decent power. Tries to time a right hook. But, seems like he doesn't throw with a lot of volume. Has terrible cardio. Absolutely no jiu-jitsu or wrestling. He was taken down against a guy named Dwayne Diggs, who was 2-2 as well, I believe. And, just gave his back, gave his neck, looked very amateurish. It was almost like he just gave his neck like a birthday present, man. Like he was just, have my neck, you could take it. He didn't give a shit. It seemed like he didn't know anything about jiu-jitsu. And 2-3, with losses to, other bad fighters. And he's just purely an opponent here for Dylan Danis. Dylan Danis has, already made waves, obviously, in the jiu-jitsu scene. He's one of the, better jiu-jitsu players in the world. And he's been training at SBG Ireland now for nearly 3 years. They picked him up for the second ADS fight, I believe. And you have to think his striking has at least became competent over that time. Maybe it's not good, but good enough to, be able to take down a lower level jobber like this guy. And I think that he should be able to close the distance, get the takedown, take the back, choke him out in round 1, and, have a pretty interesting post-fight presser. Maybe, I think that his mic time is going to be more fun than the fight, but I think it's going to be a very quick, very dominant first-round submission for Danis. But obviously, we've never seen the guy fight before. We've never seen him punched in the face, never seen him throw a punch in the cage. So, who knows, man? He might take a canvas snap. He might look terrible on the feet. Might take one punch and look scared. But I think that's very, very unlikely. Very unlikely, just looking at these two guys. And, Kyle Walker's just coming in here for a paycheck. He's coming in here. It's his first fight on Bellator. And, good experience for him. And I think Danis is going to be able to get the win here. And, Bellator's going to set him up like they want to. And we have John Salter versus Rafael Lovato Jr. up next. And I'm going to tell you guys right here, right now, Rafael Lovato Jr. is a legit guy at 185 pounds. That guy is a beast, man. Really very good. He's 3-0 in Bellator. But he's fighting another guy who's a very underrated guy as well. Former UFC vet. He's 5-0 in Bellator, won 7 in a row. John Salter. And John Salter's a pretty elite MMA grappler. Competed in multiple high-level jiu-jitsu competitions. He's an NAIA All-American wrestler. On the feet, he isn't the greatest striker, but he's steadily improved. He's formidable on the feet. He has a nice check right hook. He'll throw a left hook, left straight down the pipe with solid power. He'll move a lot on the feet, not get into brawls, because he isn't very fast. And I would actually say he's slow with his hand speed and kicks. In the pocket, he's very susceptible. He will attack with a decent left high kick that he could catch you with, but it comes very slow, and you could definitely see it coming. But he likes to get the fight to the ground, put his opponents in his world. He has a nice double leg, and although it doesn't seem like he has the most powerful shot, he does a good job staying on you, driving you to the fence, chain wrestling. If he can't initially take you down, he is relentless with his takedown attempts, has solid cardio, very slick on the ground. He has seamless passes. He'll get right to the mount or side control, land heavy shots till you give up, or give your back and he chokes you out. And he's very good at getting the back, getting the rear naked choke. 4 rear naked chokes, 8 subs in his career. He's solid off his back as well. He has a nice triangle, nice arm bar. All his fights have ended in finishes, and he's finished his last 4 opponents all in the first round. So he's definitely a finisher here, and look for this fight to be, action-packed. And Lovato is one of the best jiu-jitsu artists in MMA today. He's competed at the best, levels of jiu-jitsu and been world-class. And I doubt many people want to go to the mat with him, even if they get in top position. I don't think they want this guy being on bottom against them. He's a, compatible striker as well. Solid boxing, solid kicks, very good, very long for the division. Does a good job of controlling distance, moving backwards, making you come to him and throwing long-range strikes. He has a very nice and powerful body and head kick. He rocked someone with the head kick and finished them in 11 seconds at his Bellator debut. Can't quite remember the guy's name right now. But very impressive performance. It was an 11-second knockout, like I said. He has a nice right hand and left hook. Keeps his guard high. Is defensively responsible on the feet for the most part. Nice front kick to the body. He'll attack to the body with both legs. He has very good kicks with both sides. Good lateral movement. He'll time entries to blitz sometimes and strike. He's more fluid on the feet than Salter, but he still doesn't use many fakes and feints, and he doesn't set up his shots quite as well as John Salter does. He will attack with wild techniques like jumping knees quite frequently because he's not afraid of being taken down. Against Mike Rhodes, he looked excellent, man. He was taken down, used a deep half guard, reverse position, took the back, and choked out Mike Rhodes in lightning quick fashion, man. Really impressive. Looked like Damian Maia using that deep half to take the back. And last time out, he fought a great wrestler in Chris Honeycutt. He was threatening with submissions even in the clinch, clamping onto standing guillotines and Kimuras, making everything a defensive position for Honeycutt, even when he was, backing Lovato up against the cage or taking him down. And he was able to show good cardio as he was attacking hard in round 3 versus Honeycutt in that fight, started to push the pressure, showed good takedown defense in that fight, and he was even, attacking with submissions when he was taken down and standing back up. And this is an interesting fight because Salter can't work his usual game of takedown and submissions. So he has to win a kickboxing match here versus Lovato Jr. Both guys are finishers, with only one fight going the distance between them in their entire careers. Both guys are a bit slow on the feet, but I would give the power advantage to Lovato Jr. I believe Chris Honeycutt, the last guy that Lovato fought, is actually a better wrestler than Salter, but Salter's better a jiu-jitsu player than Chris Honeycutt. So it's kind of a different matchup in terms of grappling, but still another grappler here for Lovato Jr. And I think Lovato Jr. is getting better with more experience, and I think he's going to get a big win here. I think it's going to be the biggest win to date. I think that he's going to be able to show some good striking on the feet, be able to piece up John Salter a little bit in the first round. I think round 2, John Salter's going to go in for a takedown and get caught in guillotine, man. I'm going to go with Rafael Lovato Jr. by second round submission. Pretty confident about that pick. I think that Rafael Lovato Jr. will be a part of my parlay. And, for this fight, man, I think that a pretty good parlay could be, you could do a degenerate parlay with all 5 of the fights on the main card. And then as well, I'll give you guys my 2-team parlay. But I think that, as long as you flip the main event, I think the other 4 fights are pretty much formalities. I think they're all, it's safe to say that one guy has a very clear advantage over the other. And up next, there was another fight, Neiman Gracie against Javier Torres. And Neiman Gracie's 7-0. He's one of the last viable Gracies in MMA. He trains in New York with Renzo. And he's becoming more active since joining Bellator. He's fought twice in 2017. Coming off 2 submissions, neck crank and a rear naked choke. His striking isn't the best, but he does a good job of using his striking to close the distance. Doesn't stick around in space that much. He's long. He has tried to get better at implementing long-range strikes, but he's still a bit slow and stiff with his hands at times. Definitely think he has better kicks than punches. He'll throw a front kick to the body, round kick to the body. He'll attack with kicks upstairs as well. He likes to crest the distance with hooks, get in the clinch against the cage, and when he gets there, he'll hunt for a body lock, trip takedown, and try to get behind you and take the back. Does a great job getting the back from standing position. He has extremely dexterous legs, man. Once he gets the back, his body triangle is just extremely good. And, he was even able to, I can't remember who it was against, but against, it might have been, I can't remember, but he was able to keep the body lock on even when the guy rolled him over into full guard. And it was kind of a very odd position where he was controlling his opponent with the body lock from full guard, just because his legs are just so dexterous. And, he definitely will attack with a rubber guard as well. Very quickly he'll hunt with submissions and sweeps. Definitely not someone that you want even to be on top of. He has very nice leg locks, very nice omoplata. It's just what you expect from a Gracie, on the ground. Just excellence. And his cardio is not bad. He can push for all 3 rounds. Definitely did that in his last fight. Defensively on the feet, I feel he's still a bit vulnerable in the pocket. Sometimes he can feel uncomfortable, shoot for a takedown from way too far out. He's still developing, but if he gets this fight to the ground in any way, he has a chance to finish or change the complexity of a fight. Not just in this fight, against anyone, to be honest. And I feel like Neiman is a better athlete than most of the Gracies, and he hits harder. So definitely, kind of blends better for this type of MMA. And Javier Torres, he hasn't fought nearly 2 years. Mostly been a regional guy in his career. He did have a stint on The Ultimate Fighter. He was 0-2 very early in his career. He's a southpaw. He likes to use a lot of movement, fakes and feints. Throws a ton of kicks, tries to control the distance. Land inside kicks, outside kicks to the legs, lands oblique kicks to the legs, nice body kicks, nice front kicks to the body. He'll take a lot of kicks as well, though. He gets kicked in the leg a lot. He doesn't throw with big power, but he just controls the range and wins a point fight from distance. And he'll go upstairs with kicks at times too, with regular kicks, round kicks, front kicks. He'll plant, try to throw a right straight or, straight right hand as well when you're trying to close the distance on him. But he'll rarely start combinations with punches. Seems to have very questionable takedown defense. He doesn't have a ton off his back. He was taken down multiple times by Julian Lane and controlled, with double legs against the cage. He does have some submissions, but the likelihood of him submitting, Neiman are astronomical in my opinion. He is in good shape and he has good cardio. It looks like he'll be the quicker guy on the feet. He'll want to keep the distance at all costs, but I think this is just a setup fight for Gracie in reality. Torres doesn't throw enough heat to keep Gracie off of him. Doesn't have good wrestling. Gracie will close that distance very early, in my opinion. Get the takedown, take the back, get a rear naked choke, and I think it's a fight that's going to look very similar to the Danis fight, and I think that he's going to win first round rear naked choke. I'm going to go with Neiman Gracie here. And up next, we have Emmanuel Sanchez against Sam Sicilia, and a pretty fun fight. Emmanuel Sanchez, all action all the time, highly entertaining Bellator contender. Looking to finally get a title shot with a win here, man. He's won 3 in a row, 6 out of his last 7. He's a Muay Thai striker with good distance control, high output. He has a great jab. He'll throw a lot of good kicks. Very nice leg kicks, body kicks. Very fast and fluid with his kicks. He will hide his kicks behind punches. Has some tricky head kick setups like a spinning back fist to a head kick. Good straight punches. He'll stay in your face, keep shots coming at you all fight long, not giving you any time to breathe. Great chin. He'll continue to come forward even if you hurt or stun him early in the fight. You have to put him away, man. This is the type of guy that he's not going to come at you with anything less than relentless pressure unless you put him away. And he doesn't throw with a ton of power. Instead of just trying to keep shots in your face, keep you guessing where the next strike is coming from. He will play with his hands, get you to start thinking, then hit a nice combination. Has pretty good fakes and feints. He is a decent grappler as well, but it is what has mainly gotten in trouble in his career. He has okay wrestling, good offensive wrestling, good clinch game. He'll control you against the cage, look for body locks. On top, he has heavy ground and pound, doesn't really care much about position or submission. He just is trying to get damage on you, man, throwing hard punches, hard elbows. He has good takedown defense himself, especially in the open mat. Does a good job of scrambling, ending up in dominant position on the ground. Does a good job of taking the back off of takedown attempts. He can get in trouble scrambling on the ground, get over anxious, put himself on his back, try to take the back too hastily, get reversed, just end up, off on his back, like I said. And but off of his back, he's always moving, trying to reverse position. Has good sweeps, never accepts being on bottom. In his last fight, he actually got a nice submission off his back. And his cardio is elite. He, always has a lot of energy even after his fights. That's something that his coaches are trying to get him to, correct. They want him to, empty his gas tank out there. You don't want to have anything left after these fights. And it seems like a lot of the times he has something left after these fights. And one thing about him, though, he does get cut very easily, bloody fights. And I believe that sometimes that sways the judges' decisions. He's won a ton of split decisions due to having that high output style, in which I think that should have been unanimous. But I think that, like I said, since he gets cut up, since it looks like a bloody war, the judges get maybe a little bit swayed. But he's finally in his first, Bellator finish in 8 fights. In his last fight against Daniel Strauss, he was able to get that submission. He's 27, he's getting into his prime, and he's someone that's looking to capture a world title here. For Sam Sicilia, he's kind of in a different position. He's had a long career, a UFC veteran. He's 32, and a lot of people would say his best days are behind him. He's coming to Bellator for some of his final fights. And Sicilia's a striker as well. He relies heavily on one-punch knockout power. He tries to close the distance, land, one of his left to right hooks, and if he lands, it could be lights out. But he doesn't vary his attacks very much at all. Doesn't throw many kicks. Won't go for offensive wrestling unless it's a defensive shoot, or if it's like a final option, he's rocked or something. He struggles to close the distance and land shots. Really needs you to stand in front of him to be successful. Struggles with guys who use kicking and movement. Very heavy on his front leg. Doesn't check leg kicks. He got his leg chewed up in his last 2 fights in the UFC. He will attack with uppercuts as well. Does a good job of using head movement to try to close the distance, land his hooks. But he isn't the fastest featherweight to begin with, and he sits down in all his shots, so it takes away from his speed even that much more. He doesn't seem to have many plan Bs once he gets into that octagon. When he fights, all he's trying to do is get inside, land those hard hooks, and if he can't do it, doesn't really seem to have anything else, and just never can get in range, doesn't find his range, and you just see him getting pieced up from the outside like he did against Gavin Tucker. He's lost 3 out of his last 4 fights, but he did bounce back in his last fight in Bellator. Snapped a 3-fight losing streak against Marcus Galvao. And if we can get someone to stand in front of him, he's solid at closing the distance. He'll crash with wide hooks, nice uppercuts. He's calm and comfortable in the pocket. Can slip out of the way and return with his own shots. Does well in a brawl. He's at his best when he can get you to back up, make the cage small. And, he's attacking Galvao with a bit more kicks than I'm used to him seeing. kind of divvying up his game a little bit, but still rarely throws kicks. He has questionable takedown defense. He doesn't have much off his back. Galvao was able to take him down in round 1 and control him as well as in round 3. Landed some nice elbows in top position in round 1. But he does have good cardio, Cecilia. He keeps smart pace in his fights. But I just think this should be an easy fight for Sanchez. Sanchez should just use the game plan that everyone knows for Sam Cecilia. Use that footwork. Use that good movement. Use those kicks. And this is one of the worst possible matchups for Cecilia. Someone that could keep that movement up, keep those kicking game up, keep that high volume up, not gas, has a good chin, and just wants it, man. And I think that he's going to be able to dominate Cecilia here. And I'm going to say it's going to be a 30-27 decision here. And up next for the main event, we have the fight everyone's been looking for. I know that I'm interested in this fight. A fight you could say is almost 15 years in the making. I mean, shit, man. Fedor Emelianenko against Frank Mir. And, I don't know. We definitely get this fight way too late in their careers. Fedor's 41. Frank Mir's 38. Frank Mir is going to be coming off a pretty extensive layoff. Just over 2-year layoff, I believe, for Frank Mir. And for Fedor, he obviously hasn't been showing the best. Got knocked out against Matt Mitrione. Before that, had a very, very controversial win against Fabio Maldonado, which a lot of people thought he lost. And, just hasn't been looking the greatest. But, for Fedor, I think that he's going to be trying to keep the fight on the feet, trying to land a knockout blow, just trying to, time Frank Mir coming in, maybe catch him with a hook, drop him, and finish. And, for Frank Mir, I think Frank Mir definitely has a lot more avenues to win. I think he's going to be the much bigger guy in there. I think he's going to be the stronger, more physical guy in there. I think he's actually going to be the more explosive athlete in there. And, I think that Frank Mir definitely has much more experience fighting a cage than Fedor. You see Fedor has a lot of problems with fighting a cage. You see him have problems, getting held against the cage against Brett Rogers. Just not really showing the best IQ against the cage. And I think that that's a big thing, man. I think that he's definitely used to fighting in a ring over his career. And fighting in a cage here, I think that it really throws him off, and I don't know, man. This is really a 50-50 fight. It's just basically who you want to go with. And personally here, I would like to see Fedor win. I think it would be very nostalgic to have Fedor, in the 2018 in the World MMA win another, tournament. I think it would be very cool to see for the sport. Kind of bring you back to those Pride days. But I'm going to say Frank Mir gets the victory here. I'm going to say he gets a first-round submission of Fedor Emelianenko by Kimura. But, I hope Fedor is able to get the win here. And like I said, I think that you could be looking at a pretty safe bet here if you just did a parlay with, let's say you did one with Fedor, Emmanuel Sanchez, Gracie, Lovato Jr., and Danis. Then one with Frank Mir, Sanchez, Gracie, Lovato Jr., and Danis. I think those could both be, parlays that could, one of them potentially could have a pretty good shot at hitting. But I don't know what the odds are necessarily going to be on this card. They could be all over the place. I could see Manny Sanchez coming as a closer, or I could see the odds makers getting it right, making him a big dog. For Danis, I'm not sure. For Rafael Lovato Jr. as well, I'm not sure. But that's one that I'm really looking at. I think Lovato Jr. might be the best odds that we might be able to get. And he's going to be part of my parlay. I'm going to say Rafael Lovato Jr. and Emmanuel Sanchez will be my parlay of the week. And for my most confident pick, I'll say that it's, let's say, Emmanuel Sanchez for you guys. Because I know I would say Neiman Gracie, but I think that it's going to be pretty astronomical odds on that fight. But, yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to be gone for a while now. The next event isn't until May 12th. Put down there if you guys want me to do the Bellator card as well. If I get enough people telling me they want me to see me do the King Mo card as well, I'll do that one. Really enjoy breaking down these fights for you guys. So hope you guys subscribe. Hope you guys like it. And really like the support I've been getting lately, man. I got a lot of views on my last few videos. And really feeling good about it. I appreciate all the love. And thanks you guys for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for commenting. And Keep it up, man. Subscribe for more. Thank you guys again.